These are your notes. Okay. Moving on to section 8.2, it says to find the product, that means we're multiplying, of a polynomial and a monomial, you can use the distributive property. Okay, and I think you've done this before.
I have.
Okay, I know that you've used the distributive property. Okay, so listen to me. Distributive just means, that's a fancy word for multiplying. When we're distributing, we're really just multiplying. So let me remind you, when you multiply like bases, you're adding the exponents. Okay? So you're going to take that 4x squared and you're going to multiply it by 3x cubed. So start with your coefficients. 4 times 3 is 12.
Bring down the x.
Okay, bring down the x. Add the exponents because you're multiplying those together. That is 5. Multiply your 4x squared times the next term. 4 times positive 7 is positive 28. x2 times x2 is x to the fourth power. This next little negative x has an understood coefficient of a negative 1. You can think it or write it. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. X squared times x to the understood 1 is x to the third or cubed. And then finally 4x squared times positive 8 is positive 32. And then you just bring down the x squared there. Okay? Now you're finished as long as you don't have any like terms that will combine. So you have an x to the fifth, you have any other x to the fifths?
No, ma'am.
You have x to the fourth, you have any other x to the fourths?
No, ma'am.
X cubed, any other x cubed?
No, ma'am.
X squared, any other x squared? No, so you would be finished there because none of those are what we call like terms, and that problem is in standard form. Okay? Yeah, we're not solving yet. When we start to solve, we'll do that today. It'll have an equal sign. That's how you know you're solving. All right, let's look at number 2. Negative 3a squared b cubed is what we're going to be distributing, which is really what we're multiplying by. And all I'm going to ask you is you just take your time, because in this problem you have 2 different variables. So you're going to have to look at the a's and you're going to have to look at the b's. Alright, so let's multiply the first 2 things together. Negative 3 times a positive 8 is a negative 24. A squared times a is a cubed. B cubed times b squared is b to the fifth. So that's your first term. Alright, we're going to multiply again. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. A squared times a squared is a to the fourth. B to the third times b to the 1 is b to the fourth. Then we're going to multiply times the last term. Negative 3 times positive 4 is negative 12. A squared times a is a to the third. And b cubed times b is b to the fourth. Okay? Make sure that you did that correctly. You had 2 variables that you had to look at. Are any of those like terms? They have to have the same variables and the same exponents.
No, ma'am.
Okay, if they're not like terms, you just circle them. If they have 2 variables in them, guys, I don't care what order you write them in. Okay, don't worry about standard form unless you just have 1 variable. All right, it says you try page 474, 1, 4, and 6. Put an X on that. We don't have time for you to try anything right now. And we're going to move on down, and we're going to go to number 3 on your notes. All right, so on number 3, there are 2 numbers that you have to distribute. You have to distribute the 7, and you also have to distribute the 3x. So we'll have to do 2 distributings, and then we'll have to look for like terms. So 7 times x is 7x. 7 times positive 4 is positive 28. 3x times x is positive 3x squared. And 3x times negative 8 is negative 24x. Okay? I don't think you'll have any problem with this. I think some of you just might make careless mistakes. And so you want to be real careful as you're multiplying through here. Now, do you have any like terms?
Yes.
You have 2 terms that just have an x in them, but do you have anything that has an x that's higher than just an x? Yep. So let's write that 3x squared term first. This is how the book's going to write everything in standard form. And then combine your x's. That gives me a negative, what's 7 and a negative 24? Can y'all do that in your head?
Negative 31 and negative 17.
Negative 17. Okay, you gave me a choice there, Toki. I was supposed to choose. Okay, since the signs are different, you would subtract there. That's why it's negative 17. And then that little 28 stands all by itself, so you just bring it down. Plus 28. Okay, you try number 4. You try number 4. You're going to distribute the 2. And let me give you a little hint. The x is negative that you're going to distribute. Distribute the 2. Then distribute a negative x, and then combine like terms. 4 is going to be harder than 3. See if you can do it. All right, anybody get what I got?
Yeah, no.
Or did I make a mistake?
I got 11 on the first. But it don't matter what order you say.
Yeah, it would matter on this one because we have all x's, so we could put this one in standard form. So what did you get as your first term, if you didn't get that one?
I got 11x cubed.
So go back and look at, do you have 12x squared plus 4x minus 16 minus 9x cubed?
Oh, I got. Yes, ma'am, yeah.
Minus x squared plus 4x?
I got mine.
All right, y'all have any questions about number 4?
So we don't.
Questions about number 4? Y'all good with that one? All right, beside number 5, write omit. And then it says you try, and it says some examples. We're not going to do that. You're going to flip it over on the back, and we're going to look at, Toki just said, are we going to do some solving? Yes, we are going to do some solving. So look on the back. There's 3 examples on the back. Let's look at example 6. So you are going to have to solve some equations in this section, and you're going to have to use the distributive property first. So in example 6, you're going to distribute the negative 6 on the left-hand side of the equation, of the equal sign. That's how I know it's an equation, because it has an equal. And you're going to distribute the positive 7 on the right-hand side, and then we're going to go from there. So on the left-hand side, negative 6 times a positive 11 is a negative 66. Negative 6 times negative 2c is a positive 12c. On the right-hand side, 7 times negative 2 is negative 14, and 7 times negative 2c is negative 14c. Everybody know how that happened? Okay. Now, you're solving an equation, and the variable that you're solving for is c, and I have a c on the left, and I have a c on the right-hand side. So when that happens, you want to get your c's together on the same side. So which one is the smallest, 12c or negative 14c? Negative 14c. So my algebra teacher always told me to move the smaller variable wherever the larger one is. So since that 14c is being subtracted, we're going to add 14c to both sides. On the left-hand side, we're now going to have negative 66 plus 26c is equal to negative 14. And then the two 14c's are going to cancel out. Okay, so what we did in that step is we brought the smaller c over to the left-hand side. Now look where your variable is, and then you're going to solve the equation. What would you do next to solve for c? You have 2 choices. Would you add 66 or divide by 26? And it does matter what you do first. Dax says add 66. Y'all agree with that? We want to add or subtract in our first step when we're solving at all possible, if at all possible. So we are going to add 66 to both sides. That's going to leave us with 26C is equal to 52. Then we're still solving for C, and then our last step is going to be either to divide or multiply depending on our problem. And since 26 is being multiplied, we're going to divide by 26. And 52 divided by 26 is 2. Okay? So I'm guessing in Algebra 1A, you probably solved some equations very similar to this. I'm not sure if you had to distribute and then move the variable over, but I know that you've had to move the variable over to one side and solve in Algebra 1A. So that's what you're going to do in this section. Okay, I do not have time to do example 7 and example 8, but they are worked like example 6. So you can put omit on example 7 and 8. Okay.